Welcome to Track 1. We're going to be talking about important site setup. So once you get your websites, what you need to do from the back end to make those active for your customers to come in and place orders. There's a couple things that I want to talk about before we get started into the back end of the website. I'd like to go ahead and just talk about the process of what the website looks like as far as where customers will go. So what they're going to do, and what we encourage everybody to do, is go in to the Signarama website, which is actually, I'm going to come up here. And once you go into the www.signoramadev.com, this is going to be the company or the universal website, so the master website, and customers can come in here and actually find a location. We're going to ask that you do the same. So we're going to ask that you come here up at the top. You can find a location here. If you click on find a location, you have the ability to come in here and click on California, and it will pull up a map and you can see the various locations in California. You can drill down by clicking on the map and going further, or like a location on the map. So you can drill down a little bit further, or you can come down here, and because I clicked on California, I can lock in and set into the store of my choice. So we're going to be working with Marietta, but we encourage that everybody go in and make their franchise or their store basically lock into that store. So if I go into Marietta, where was that? Here we go. And then I would click on make this my store. When I do that, it's going to pull up the Marietta. So it's going to be customized for Marietta. You'll have your local store number. And then it will also take you, or local store image. This will also take you to the home page of the Marietta site. So we want you to go ahead and lock into your store doing that from that URL. And once you do that, after this training, you're going to receive the URL and your access information. So you should receive that within a day or two after this training. I believe Mike has sent around an email with the webinar links, but attached to that email is a couple page document on 10 steps in order to get started, or things that you need to do to check your website. We're going to cover those today, but I do reference that document and go into the back end of the store and take a look at that. So you'll get your URL, and when you get your URL, what you're going to do is type that in there, and actually on the back of the URL, you're going to type it in, and then you're going to put what's called /manage on the very back. And you will arrive at the login screen for your management section of your website. So then you'll put in your password, or your email, sorry, and your password. This will take you to the home page of the management section. So again, we're on the back end of your site. And this home page, we're going to go through the various setups on this, the store setup window here that you see in front of you. So the first thing that we're going to ask you to do is come into General Settings and click on this blue link. What this is going to do is just pull up your website attributes, so the general settings for the entire website. What you'll see is your site name, your site title, and your domain name. Do not worry so much about the domain name. That will be handled for you, and you will be given that name. If you have something unique, definitely communicate that to Max in corporate, and he can make sure that that domain is moved over and redirected. So the other things that you want to look at are meta description and meta keywords for your entire site. So we do ask that you put in a description, a meta description. It's a couple sentences in a sentence format about what your website is offering. So you want to go ahead and do that. And you're also going to want to include your location in that description. The other things that we're going to ask is that you enter meta keywords. Those can be just a series of keywords that people would use to search for your website. So signs, outdoor signs, indoor signs, banners, vehicle graphics. And you can list those words, just separate those by commas. So these are your meta description and meta keywords that you need to set on your general settings of the site. Other things you have is, of course, you'll have the language. There is a designer API key. This is part of the template that was set up for these sites. If you have a designer working with you, please, again, contact Max and let them know. We don't want people changing this designer key at this point because it is the template of the website. But it doesn't mean that there's different areas in where you can do CSS on the back end of these sites. So if you have a web designer working with you, there's definitely areas that they can go in and work with. The other part of this is products and pricing. Again, it's going to be set to currency, which is US, but I do want to point out the change price margin. This will be set, and I believe the board decided on a plus or minus 20%. So in addition to the margin markup that is already applied to products on the website, you have the ability to go in here and change this margin plus or minus 20%. And when you do that, it's going to change that across the board on your website. So it will apply it to all products in all categories on your website. Other things you have is adult images and alcohol. You can choose to exclude those on your website. And then you can also link to a virtual catalog. But we really want you to pay attention to setting up this first area here, the website attributes for your site. Any changes that you make, definitely click Save Changes. And when you do that, it will take you back to the home screen. So we just want you to move through here. So the next thing that you want to look at is contact details. That's just making sure your contact information is correct on the site. So you can take a look at that. Make sure your address, state, city, and so forth is correct. If you make changes, again, save your changes up in the top right. The other thing you have is managers. This is going to look a little bit different. You should have listed here any CSRs that you might have working with you, any other staff members. Again, if you have someone working on your website, you can go ahead and register them so that they will appear here. And once they do, and they're loaded in here, you have some permissions or areas in which they can have permission to change on the website. If you mark them as manage, that means that everything that we cover today, they will have access to the back end of the website. They can make changes to the website, content, layout, and so forth. If they are marked with inquiries, that just means that they'll receive an email anytime an inquiry is placed on the website. And then if they are marked with orders, it operates pretty much the same way. Anytime an order is placed on the website, they'll receive an email. So you'll definitely want to check what areas different individuals on your staff have access to, and then save your changes. The important area that we really need you to spend time and take a look at is the e-commerce area. So in order for you to be able to have your customers come onto your site and use the shopping cart and place an order, this e-commerce area needs to be set up correctly. So you can access the e-commerce screen by clicking on this blue link, or you can come up to the e-commerce tab and you can click on General Settings or Payment Settings. All three will take you to the same screen. So I'm just going to do it from here because it's almost like we're working down a checklist. So if I check on or click on the blue link there, it'll take you into the e-commerce settings. Don't worry so much about the cart settings. The default will be that this box will be unchecked. because you have the designer that you'll be working with. The payment settings is the area that we want you to pay attention to. So the payment method is where your actual credit card provider is selected. So these are the payment methods that you're willing to take on your site. So if you want on account, pay on collection, but the minute that you check on credit card, you'll see some additional fields populate. So we'll definitely want you to check credit card if you want to be able to take credit cards on your site. The country is the United States, but you will be prompted to pick your credit card provider. So at this point, we have two credit card providers, PayPal and Authorize.net. So if you have your PayPal or Authorize.net information available, you're going to need it for this area. So you might want to go on to your account and grab your access information because you will need that. If you check PayPal as your credit card provider, and I scroll down here, this is where you're going to put your PayPal details. Okay, so you'll put your PayPal email in there and definitely put live. You definitely want to check the radio button live. The other area that you have is Authorize.net. So if you choose Authorize.net as your credit card provider, then you have your Authorize.net details populate down below, and you can fill in your login information and your transaction key. Again, make sure that you choose live here on transaction server and transaction mode in order to make that available and active on your website for your customers. The thing I want to talk about, which is a little bit new to everybody, is authorization versus capture. Right now, your websites, the way you were dealing with them, are set at authorization, which means that all orders are basically needing you to go in, take a look at the order, and then you release it for that credit card processing. If it's selected, and all of these will be defaulted to capture, capture will automatically do that for each transaction that's made. So when a transaction is made on your site, it's not going to sit there and wait for you to take a look at it and release it. It will automatically do that for you. So that is something new, and these sites are going to be defaulted to capture. So if you want to have to authorize it and go in, you do need to go in here and check this radio button. So once you put in your e-commerce information here, you're going to definitely want to save those changes. Now, the last thing that you want to take a look at on the home screen within the management area is Google Analytics. If you click on this blue link, Google Analytics is a free service provided by Google, and they'll provide reports on who's coming to your website, what they're looking at, how long they're spending. So it's a nice service to have, and if you don't have it already, you can sign up for Google Analytics by clicking on this link up here at the top. And then it will prompt you through what you need to do to sign up for a Google Analytics account. Once you have a Google Analytics account for this website, you can go ahead and key your 10-digit or so code in here where it says Google Analytics code, and then go ahead and save those changes. So that's basics of setting up within the home screen, and that's going to be the first landing page that you go into when you go into the back end of these sites. What I'm going to move on is I'm going to cover a couple other areas within the back end. First, I'm going to come over here to e-commerce, and the way that when we looked at managers, we checked a place where it said inquiries or orders, and that means that that individual would receive an email. You also have the ability to see all orders on your site by just coming into the e-commerce tab and viewing orders, and this will list all the orders that you have on your site. So you can see those there. They'll be sorted by status, by customer, and by products, and you'll also see the total. So you can see those. And if you go into inquiries, the inquiries tab, you'll be able to see the inquiries on the site. The other area that I want to take a look at is products. If you go to the products drop down, one of the areas that you will need to go into within the 10 steps of getting set up is coming here to products and going into categories. This lists all the various categories on your site. And so they're separated by the category here, which has got the category name and title. You also can edit that name of the category without losing the products within that category. So if I didn't want to do awning and fascia and I wanted to call it something else, I could edit this and input a new title of that category without losing the products. I can also edit the URL to optimize that with the search engine. So instead of having fabric banners, I might want to say the actual nylon banners or something like that. I can go ahead and edit that. The place that we need you to take a look at is over here in e-commerce tab. So if I click on the e-commerce tab, all of the categories are checked. So if they are checked, it means that they are allowing ordering on your site. So if for some reason you don't want those products the customers to come onto your site and order products within that category, you need to go through here and take a look at those categories and uncheck the ones that you might just want to have customers come on and place an inquiry as to, maybe there's more information involved with that particular order, and you don't want them just to be able to go in and purchase it on your site. So you want to take a look at that. It will default to all these categories will be checked. So you do need to go in here and uncheck those categories that you do not want to allow ordering on your site. And then definitely save your changes. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about is the overall layout of the site. There are pre-populated pages as well as areas on your site that are included in the template of all the franchisee sites. I always refer to that as the overall layout of the site. So those pages and areas are included in the overall layout. In order to make edits to those pre-populated areas and pages, so part of that template, you need to come over here to General, and then you need to go to Settings. And that will give you a list of all those pre-populated pages. Now you do not have to, you don't need to display these pages. You can hide these pages away if you don't want them on your site. However, if you want to edit the content of these pages, you do need to be in this area. So you need to go to General and Settings, and then you'll see the list of pages that are already part of that site template or overall layout, as I refer to it. And in order to edit a particular page, what you need to do is come over here to the Edit button and click on Edit. What that's going to do is pull up what we call an HTML module. So it allows you to edit pictures and text, as well as link things within this area. So it's set up already with kind of a layout, so you can see the picture, and then the over to the right you have the illuminated signs with a blurb about what that offers, or a little bit more information about illuminated signs. In this particular page, or this page that we're on, this is the gallery page for illuminated signs. If I want to change the pictures and edit the content, there's a couple ways I can do that. I'm going to go into the edit mode of this particular page. This HTML block will pull up, and there's a couple things I can do. I could copy the image that I want to include, and then I can come over here and click on the area and then just paste that image over, and it will replace the image that I want, without changing the layout of this page. I can also come in here and paste images over here in the gallery. Now, if I want, I can just make a click on after these, and then it's going to insert that image into the gallery area down below. So you basically put your cursor where you want to put the image, and then you can paste that image in. You also can edit the text, so you can paste, you can copy text and then just go ahead and highlight or put your cursor where you want to paste that text in, and you can edit the text that way. Or you could just click in here and start to type your new text. Okay, I'm on someone's real site, so I don't want to make too many edits here. So that's how you can copy and paste information in. You can click into the area that you want and type that in. This works very similar to a Word document.